Thank you, Tori, for your presentation. On behalf of Madrid City Council, it's a pleasure to welcome you to this international seminar. Today, we are honored to bring together experts from several European countries to share experiences, best practices, and innovative approaches to restoring and preserving our natural environments. I am proud to present our initiatives, including the restoration of the Manzanares Gaviabulera River ecosystem, as part of a broader commitment to sustainable urban development. I'm going to share my presentation. Could you please check, tell me if it works, okay?
It works perfectly. Raquel, I think your microphone is a little bit distorted, so if you can move it a little bit closer, maybe we can hear you.
Could you hear me better now?
I think so, yeah.
Thank you. I checking because my mouse doesn't work correctly to pass the slides. Sorry. I'm going to start again with the sharing. Sorry I apologize for the inconvenience. Now it works, I think, no?
Wonderful, thank you, yes.
Okay, thank you, sorry. Before presenting the Manzanares Gaviabulera ecosystem restoration project in detail, I would like to briefly outline the structure of this presentation. We will begin with an overview of the city of Madrid, as well as its historical relationship with the Manzanares River. This background will help frame the significance of the restoration efforts made, and we will then move on to describe the project itself, and finally we will reflect on the conclusions. Madrid is the capital and largest city of Spain, strategically located in the heart of the Iberian Peninsula, and the city itself has a population of around 3.5 million inhabitants, while its metropolitan area is home to nearly 7 million people, making it the second largest metropolitan area in the European Union, just after Paris. Within the urban area, the municipality of Madrid boasts more than 6,000 hectares of green spaces, providing residents and visitors with extensive opportunities.
One moment, sorry, Raquel, your microphone is working a little bit badly. Is it possible to move it closer or to speak a little bit slower, because we are hearing you a little.
I'm sorry. I'm going to move now. Do you hear me? Okay. Well,
I think so.
Now. I'm sorry.
Say a longer sentence.
6,000 hectares of green areas.
Because you are falling a bit in and out. Is there a possibility to detach this microphone?
I'm going to detach the microphone. Okay. I hope it works without microphone. Sorry.
Thank you.
Now, do you hear me?
Much better. Much better. Thank you.
Sorry, because we have been testing before the seminar, but sometimes problems happen. Sorry, I will continue. I was explaining that in Madrid we have more than 6,000 hectares of green areas and 1.5 million of trees inside the urban area. Outside we have more trees and more green areas. Madrid is was founded in the 9th century and has grown over the centuries. As can be seen in this painting of Madrid, the city was originally established on a promontory overlooking the Manzanares River. In 1561, Madrid became the capital of the Spanish crown, a milestone that triggered continuous population growth and urban expansion. Despite this development, the Manzanares River remained on the outskirts of the city for centuries, as you can see in these maps, constituting a space for leisure and agricultural activity and shaping its historical relationship with the surrounding landscape. Shown in this map is of the early 20th century. The Manzanares River was still not fully integrated into the urban fabric of Madrid. This map illustrates the significant expansion of Madrid during the mid-20th century when the city absorbed several neighboring municipalities, and in this period marked a turning point in Madrid urban development, as the Manzanares River, which had historically remained on the outskirts, became fully integrated into the city structure, as you can see in these two maps. Nowadays, the river is a connector between different green spaces in our city. As you can see in the image, it crosses our city, and it has three differentiated parts. The first part is more naturally, you can see even the eagle and different ecosystems, Mediterranean forests. And when the river is inside the city, is totally different. You will see some different projects we have made to integrate, better integrate the river into the city. We will start with Madrid Rio. Madrid Rio is a large-scale urban transformation initiative that reclaims the banks of the Manzanares River, turning a former highway corridor, you can see in the left part of the slide, into a vibrant green space. This highway divided the city and isolated the river. This allowed the creation of a 10-kilometer long linear park. You can see here a lot of benefits it generates for the city. And this linear park now connects various neighborhoods and recovers the essential role of the river for citizenship. You can see here another part of the Madrid Rio. And finally, Madrid City Council is working to improve the connectivity of Madrid Rio with Casa de Campo, that is the biggest green area of the city. Moreover, we have made another important action in the river before the project we are developing now, that is called Parque Lineal del Manzanares. It's another blue and green infrastructure project that complements Madrid Rio. The park is structured around three main elements: the river itself, a central pedestrian axis, and a grid of orthogonal paths. This park not only provides a recreational space, but also plays a crucial role in the environmental restoration and connectivity. And now I will explain what we are doing in Manzanares Gavia Bulera project. This project is included in a bigger project that is called Bosque Metropolitano, and is part of Manzanares 360 environmental sustainability strategy. It consists of an extensive green and blue infrastructure that connects the current green zones of the city of Madrid, implementing new plantings of native extrudes and 3 species. It is a crucial instrument in the greening strategy of Madrid, which will contribute to achieve the following objectives: to form a green belt around Madrid, to improve the health and well-being of citizens, and of course to contribute to achieving sustainable development goals, making Madrid a more environmentally, socially, and economically sustainable city. The development of the mosaic of landscapes that make up this green and blue infrastructure among the largest forest mass that embrace the city is noteworthy. Now I will explain the details of Manzanares Gavia Bulera project. This project is being developed in the south part of our city. You can see the area here. And now I will briefly explain some relevant issues to consider in this area. The project is developed on a section of Manzanares River with a high concentration of infrastructure, sanitation facilities, spillways, and transport infrastructure as railways, motorways. With regard to the infrastructure that affects the morphological quality, it should be noted that in this section there are 19 spillways. We are working in one of these spillways, like a demo site, with an innovative solution that Marta will explain afterwards. Projects to modernize some of the existing infrastructure are currently undergoing administrative processing by different administrations. And finally, the environmental importance of Manzanares River as an ecological connector beyond even the municipal boundaries of Madrid is highly significant, as is the social mobilization that exists, especially in the neighborhoods most affected by the existing infrastructure. Here we can see two pictures of this area and the spillway where we are working now. Manzanares Gavia Bulera Recovery Project is led by Madrid City Council in collaboration with Conama Foundation. Thank you very much for your presence and for organizing this webinar. And with the Center for Public Work Studies and Experimentation. That is a center that forms part of the state administration and is specialized in hydraulic and environmental issues. I would like also to thank the collaboration of this center, that is his role is very important here in the project. The main objective is to recover ecological and hydrological continuity of the final stretch of Manzanares River, reducing flood risks, improving the condition of aquatic and riparian ecosystems, and restoring degraded riverbanks. It also enhances the river roles as Madrid primary ecological corridor, reconnecting natural habitats. The project has a total budget of more than 2.5 million euros, 90% of which is financed by European Union's Next Generation funds, through the Biodiversity Foundation of the Ministry for Ecological Transition and Demographic Challenge. It began in September 2022, and it will be finished at the end of March 2026. Here, we started with the diagnosis of the area, and we began by conducting this diagnosis using various tools as satellite images that you can see here to study the evolution of the river. And also we have modeled we have done the hydromorphological characterization of the water body. That is a water body that is highly degraded because it's inside of the city and is, as I explained before, surrounded by different infrastructure. And also with this innovative design, we started modeling with the Center for Public Work Studies and Experimentation to check that the new design will fulfill the objectives we need to achieve. Marta will explain the new design afterwards. For us, the governance project is very important. We consider this project is an example of joint work focused on the cooperation between national, regional, and local administrations with civil society and academia. The governance program is organized in 3 working groups in which all the stakeholders are represented. As part of the project governance program, we have carried out several participatory meetings with the local community, as you can see in this slide. We also, as part of the communication and environmental awareness program, develop different actions in which we have involved experts and neighbors to reconnect people with the river. You can see also this, we have organized before 2 seminars. I consider they are very interesting. You can, you have the, you can see in YouTube as in the slide, you have the link if you have the time and the interest to know more about our project. And of course, as part of the project, we have a comprehensive monitoring and evaluation program that has been established to ensure the effectiveness and transparency of intervention. This includes the systematic tracking of mandatory indicators defined in the funding call. And in addition, the program assesses the biological, chemical, and hydromorphological quality, evaluates the ecosystem services, and monitors environmental indicators related to the restoration work. And finally, this leads me to some brief conclusions. Madrid City Council has developed several important projects to improve connectivity along the Manzanares River, such as Madrid Rio, Manzanares Linear Park, and of course, Manzanares Gaviabulera project. The project Bosque Metropolitano is part of Madrid 360 environmental sustainability strategy. It consists of an extensive green and blue infrastructure that connects the current green zones of the city of Madrid. The Manzanares Gaviabulera River Ecosystem Recovery Project, located within the Bosque Metropolitano project, is being carried out on the final stretch of the Manzanares River in the city of Madrid, where various administrations are working simultaneously to improve the river ecosystem and promote the important role of the Manzanares River as an ecological corridor in the region of Madrid. The project incorporates a new approach to multi-level governance, promoting collaboration between the administrations, academia, and citizens. And furthermore, and finally, it is an example of the new approach to urban planning and how Madrid City Council is tackling the management of European funds, taking advantage of the opportunities offered by the European Union for the developing of pioneering projects using nature-based solutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Raquel. And I will directly give the word over to our esteemed colleague at Madrid City Council, Marta Lopez, that will outline the particulars regarding this presentation that you have seen now. Marta Lopez Sanchez is a civil engineer who has worked for Madrid City Council since 2001, and she has always been involved with water and sanitation management. She began managing the sewage network and later took over the project and construction of Water and Green Areas Department. Her responsibilities also include coordinating and planning the city's sanitation development, and she currently holds the position of head of sewage service. So thank you so much, Marta. Please, over to you.
One moment, I'm going to, good morning, first of all. Here it is. I'm going to share the screen. I don't know if you see. Can you see it now?
Yes, perfectly, Marta.
Okay, let's begin then. Sorry, because today I have been problem with the computer and so on, and it doesn't work. In one moment again.
Would you like to try again?
Yes, I will try.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's see now. Okay, but okay. Can you see it now?
Perfectly, Marta.
Okay. Well, as they have introduced me, I am Marta Lopez, and I we'll talk to you about the innovation design we have used in an area of Manzanares River, in the meander you can see in the photo. I don't know, but okay, I see you. Okay. We will divide the presentation into two parts. The first one corresponds to the left riverbank, where innovation in spillway design has been used with nature-based solutions. And the second part refers to the opposite riverbank, the right riverbank, where it was very deteriorated and it needed the restoration because of the spills of the other riverbank. So bioengineering techniques have been used in that part of the river. Well, in this orthophoto, you can see the area of action. The line red shows it. And we have limits in this area. We were limited because of the river to the south and because of the railway tracks to the north. The conditioning works began the 1st of April and are going to last 1 year. This overflow structure belongs to Abroñigales stormwater tank that is situated in the other side of the railways tracks. Well, now you can see what the spillway looked like before the beginning of the works. The floor was made of concrete with riprap underneath. There was no vegetation on it, as you can see, no vegetation on the edges that were walls of gabions. And not only this was a hard solution, it also facilitated the water flow. And that's a problem when the flow rate can reach 140 cubic meters per second. The energy and the speed with which the water came out were eroding the opposite riverbank, as you can see in this slide. The photo on the left was taken from the spillway. This is the concrete and impermeable floor we have seen before. And we can see how the spills have taken the other riverbank. And the photo on the right side is in the right riverbank, where the pedestrian path was closed because of the instability of the slope. So we wanted to prevent people from approaching to this slope. Here is the status of the Abroñigales overflow structure. On March, it was an historic rainy month. It wasn't torrential rains, but it didn't stop raining for days. So when we began the works, the water table was very high, which dificulted the beginning. Here we can see the floor plan before works. Here is the river and the collectors who bring the water to the photo we have seen before. This is the area of action. Well, the goals of the project were to delay the discharge point as far as possible, moving it away from the riverbank. For this purpose, we have demolished 25 meters of these collectors, gaining an space. And in this gain space, we can build the dissipation elements we need to soften the water outlet. So both buffer basin has been designed, rough surfaces and buffers to reduce the energy and the speed of the pouring water. We wanted also to replace hard solutions with nature-based solutions because the last solutions meant a discontinuity for the ecological corridor, as you can see. So we wanted to ensure the cohabitation of ecosystem processes and citizen use. For that, there is going to be a square above the spillway, conceived as a recreational area. And there will be also a viewing platform for the citizens to enjoy the river. And there was a pedestrian and a bicycle path you can see here, and we are going to maintain, but we have to set them back because as we have told, the discharge point is going to be delayed. And there was a wheel way here, and we have to set it back also. The last goal is to create places that help understand their function, the square we have talked about before. This is the future floor plan. Here we can see the buffer basin and the organic the dissipation elements. These ones were made of riprap, topsoil, and plants. We are going to, this zone is going to be vegetated. There will be gabion walls here and here, but there will be a slope here and it will be planted here and here. This is the square and the viewing platform. The pedestrian path will be this. It will go to the square, and then you can continue walking this way. And this is the cyclist path. Well, if we see the same thing in the section, we can see how the water is going out this way and arrives to the buffer basin where it has to jump 50 centimeters. And after the water has to go over 1.30 meters to arrive these organic dissipators, and after all, it achieves the river. Not only we have delayed the discharge point, we have also widened this distance. It was before about 25 meters, and now is going to have 150. So that will also soften the water outlet. Here you can see how this is going to be planted in order to give continuity to the riparian forest. And we will also have here fig trees, almond trees, and Mediterranean and trees. Well, and this is the front view. The water also can go out. There will be windows in this wall at the ground level, just to empty the buffer basin. here are some photos from, they have been taken in October. You can see the Bafa Basin. This is the construction of the Bafa Basin, the riprap, and the walls of the Bafa Basin. The next thing to do was here are the windows I have just told now. And the next thing is the construction of the gabion walls. But the companies that dedicate to do that work are now very busy in the eastern of Spain, so they are going to delay the work here. And so we have began with the organic elements made of riprap and topsoil and plants. We want to plant in November. Well, as I have told, this is we cannot forgive, sorry. This is the relief of a sewage network. So we needed to adopt another measures like these 20 grantings in order to avoid solids to escape to the river. They are in the derivation in the Fluviales stormwater tank. We are aware we will also need to clean the Bafa Basin sometimes after the rain. It must be inspected. Well, this is the infographic how we think it is going to look like after the works. You can see there is vegetation. It's a nature-based solution that is not going to mean a discontinuity as it was before. Let's talk now about the restoration of the right river bank that was eroding. Here you can see as before the area of action. The riprap was on the riverbed, as you can see. And well, we started these works in June, and they are going to last 6 months. The design of this stabilization is with craner walls. This is the solution I was talking. We are going to use bioengineering techniques. First of all, we needed to stabilize the slope, and we put it the riprap we have taken from the river bed. And after all, we have used this debarked pine wood trunk. And we began in September with these artisanal works. You can see here the pine trunks. Between them there is a slope, so we have to put a coconut bio roll in order to avoid the soil going out. And another we put the in perpendicular. I don't know if this word is English. We put this other trunk. And after all, we are going to use leaf cuttings of native species. And these logs are secured with nails and steel bars. We will plant in November tamaris, elms, and shrubs, and bramble, and elderberry. that are the plants that we can find around the river. Here you can see how they are putting the soil, and well, that's all. Thank you for your attention, and I apologize if my English is not so good.
Thank you so much, Marta. On the contrary, it was wonderful. We understood you perfectly.
Okay.
And well, thank you so much, Marta and Raquel. And we now have the pleasure of introducing our chair of this webinar, who will continue for the second part, which is the presentation of several very interesting European projects. And I would like to introduce, as I said, the chair and longtime friend of CONAMA, Andrés Alcántara, who is the urban coordinator at International Union of Conservation of Nature, IUCN Med. Please, Andrés, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, every participants. It's a pleasure to share this session. And as you know, IUCN definition of nature-based solution is actions. Actions to sustainably manage, protect, and restore. And restore in the natural and modified ecosystems. The most important modified ecosystems are cities. So we'll see today, we'll learn from 3 case studies and the 4 speakers about nature-based solutions and how the nature-based solutions can help to find solutions to the societal challenge. You know, the nature-based solution has 7 societal challenges: climate change, water security, biodiversity loss, disaster risk, human health, economic, social development, and food security. With the 3 case studies that we have today from Portugal, Germany, and Italy, we'll learn about nature-based solutions and to find solutions and to learn about the options from the legal river green corridor, action river restoration, and the touring floating about floods. The first speaker will be Laura and Antonio. Laura and Antonio, Laura is a PhD landscape architect from the Faculty of Science of Oporto, and she's assistant professor in the Forestry Landscape Architect Department of University Trás-os-Montes e Alto Douro. She combined teaching and research with professional practice, and she's founder of the Landscape Architect Fair. Antonio is architect too, with a master in landscape architecture from the Faculty of Oporto, and he's working in the LRC. They are working in proximity with the municipalities to improve the deteriorated ecosystem and developing complementary projects to mitigate flood risk and create recreational space for the population. So please, Laura and Antonio, you have the floor and you can explain us about your Lesa River Green Corridor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning to all. I tried to prepare the PowerPoint. If I find my mouse, okay. Okay, good morning to all again. First of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation to participate in this interesting webinar. And we will present the work we are done from 10 years in the past to now, and summarize the works we are doing along the Lesa River. So the Lesa River, it's the only one river we have in the metropolitan area of Porto that begins in the metropolitan area and finish in the same place. across a very complicated landscape, because we have parts with rural and forest areas in St. Tirso municipality, and along the river the landscape change, and we have the kind of urban sprawl occupation of the landscape, and it's a very confused landscape with density building areas, with rest of forests, rest of agriculture, some places without land use now. So there is very complicated to the landscape that the river cross along 48 kilometers of extension. So this river are in the metropolitan area, so 1,700,000 inhabitants have direct contact with this green area, with this blue system, and the mobility. It's also very important because there are a lot of people crossing every day this river. So we began to work in one part of the Matosinhos municipality in a small scale for a project, and we also began to work in the large scale doing a master plan, because we found that it's necessary to saw all the perspective of the basin of the river and combine with the small perspective of the project. So we work at the same time in different scales, who give us a very good perception of the problems or of all the river and where is the major problems we can find. So we studied about metropolitan level, a local level. You can see the diagram of the master plan in this image. And we also have workshops with people to know exactly what they think, what they feel about the river. So these workshops are based in visual preference analysis. We do some inquiries to young people, because it's the people who will live and in this area, and it's interesting to understand what they pretend for his river, what are the vision of these young people for his river. And we do also workshops with technicals because it's the people who can do now in the different municipalities and the entities and can do actions now. So the public participation have this kind of inquiries, and we do in all the municipalities where the lesser river cross. So in the top of the image you see in the color green the areas that we identified like the risk areas, the prioritary areas we need to interview because are degraded or because it's are in good conservation state and we must conserve. So it's important to understand what is the physical limit, what is the spatial areas where we must act by now, and inside these areas what is with more risk and are very urgent to have actions, and the places we must maintain with good collections. So this methodology and the master plan, we finished the master plan in 2020, and we have a lot of guidelines, goals and strategies for all the river, and we define some topics. I will not read everything. It's too much text, but biodiversity, risk protection, soft mobility, consolidation of the green corridor, the qualification of the landscape, as I told, is not very requalification along the river, the problems with the climate change. It's necessary to prepare all the space for these problems. And of course, we are in a metropolitan area and need also recreational spaces. So we define all these goals, and we define exactly what are the places you are doing these interventions in the master plan. And we define also, you can see in the blue both circles, in the blue circles, some areas, some thematic areas where we pretend to do or environmental formation, talking about the evolution of the landscape, the heritage. There are a lot of heritage along the river, or some areas for research about the quality of the water, the results of the lines we are implemented. So we have different areas to, and also, because it's very important, places to make pilot areas to explain how can we have a sustainable forest and how can we have a sustainable agriculture, because they interfere directly with the river. So in the 2021, as a result of these studies, the municipalities understand that it will be important to have one entity that can decide exactly what the actions and at what the time that all of these goals must be implemented, and created Corredor do Rio Lesser Association, and we are all the day working with this association, because they decide what is priorities, what is the necessity to create people who are in the field understanding where is the polluted areas, where is the good areas. We are creating preferential flood basins also to prepare the river for the climate change and to the problems that have today, do a presentation for universities, schools, technicals, and in the field do some constructions in the bank stabilization and remove dams for the biodiversity can increase, and remove the trust. There are a lot of trust in the river. I didn't talk about this yet, but Lesser River in the 60s and 70s of the last century is considered one of the most polluted rivers in Europe. So we need to transform very quickly, because there are too much time in degrading the river, and now we are participating in the process. It's not easy and it's not in the short time, but it's the process to give again life to this river. And now we can see some of the actions that we have done along these years. And I pass this presentation to my colleague Antonio to explain some of the areas we have implemented the project.
Yes, thank you, Laura, and good morning to everyone. So I'm gonna be talking a bit about our project around the Lesser River, and we'll start by showing some images of the situation, of the previous situation. What you can see now here are the good parts. Most of them are upstream in Santo Tirso. You can see a water mill there that's from Matosinhos, and we'll start the project where we started. We started with the worst areas. we started in Matosinhos, where you can see some degradation of the embankments. We have some infrastructures that are along the river, some walls that are decayed, and even worse, some sewage going into the river, where you can see all of this foam here. This is from the sewage. Some of these pipes are from pluvial waters. Others are from sewage. You can see here clearly a sewage drain going directly into the river. And so some of the intervention from our side is to try to mitigate and reduce these big problems. So as Laura explained previously, we work on a master plan for the Lesser River on the 4 municipalities. So this methodology, we already have a lot of information when we started making the project. So we went looking after the cultural elements, the mobility elements, and the nature elements. And we also, as it's important to connect create a green infrastructure along the river, we also went looking after what were possible connections to existing parks and possible connections to future parks, as this connectivity is very important. So this first phase of the project in Matosinhos spans over a total of 18 kilometers. These 18 kilometers were divided in 3 areas of intervention of 6 kilometers each, where two of these areas of intervention are already built, so 12 kilometers have already been constructed. And the priority lines of action, we work with biodiversity restoration, risk protection, soft mobility, green corridor consolidation, and recreational spaces.
Antonio, 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, I'll try to be fast. So what you're seeing here are the bridges, because connectivity between the spaces is very important. All these connections are accessible to people in wheelchairs. They're very easily accessible. These are very permeable bridges. They were built over the highest flood level for 100 years. So these bridges are never under the water. You'll see here some of the elements here where we connect the bridges. We create spaces for the people to connect with the river. We also try that these bridges don't interfere a lot with the existing vegetation. So you'll see further in the next images here the meeting points of the people with the river. We try, as I said, we try to respect the existing vegetation, so you'll see we maintained a lot of the trees. The riprap. And see the dynamic of the seasons around the year. And so this project also has to have consider flood resiliency. The materials have to be permeable. They have to be strong. Because the Lesser River, you can see most of the year it doesn't look like a lot, but when it rains a lot, it has very severe floods. So every intervention we have to consider this. We also create, you'll see further, the water basins. We also had, as I said previously, a lot of erosion problems, so we had to stabilize the embankments. We used the live cuttings. We also used the stone to the riprap and the stone to stabilize the embankments. I'm trying to be a bit faster. Sorry if this will be a bit So also the pathways for the people, as I said, they are all accessible to people with reduced mobility, people in wheelchairs. They are permeable because we are working in flood areas, so that's very important to us, so that we don't impermeabilize the soil. You can see here the construction, some of the construction of these spaces. And we also work a lot with the materials from the existing materials. So the trees that were cut, some of the stone, we utilize it a lot in the area.
1
And
minute,
of course,
sorry.
okay, thank you. And of course, when we go into construction, there's a lot of things we don't know. So this is an example of a previous wall that existed that was completely taken underground. And when we were constructing we found about this. And so the solution here was to keep it, so we don't take this solid trash out to another place. We maintained it here, and we had to contain it with some walls. Also, there's a lot of, as you can see, visitation chambers here, so we had to contain those as well. And these are some of the ongoing projects. These are in other municipalities also, not only Matosinhos, but there are some projects in Maia, Valongo, and Santo Tirso that we expect that the rest of the corridor will be complete to start construction. The project will be completed around the next year. So some of the projects that are also ongoing are the aquatic plant nursery to create plants to plant in the area, create plants from the area to plant in the area. We are creating preferential flood basins because, as I said before, the Lesser River has a very high risk and danger of floods, and a lot was constructed around the river, so this is a very big problem. And of course, we are creating also urban parks with ponds, infiltration, biodiversity, and to connect all this green corridor. So, and this is our small team, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Laura, Antonio. Excellent projects, and thank you very much for your case study. The next speaker and the next project case study is the Encher River Restoration. We have the speaker is Alexander Kickmeyer. He is head of corporate development and public affairs of Emergiendo o Chat and Lip Fairbanks. That's the two largest water management associations in Germany. He studied economy and social science at Ruhr University, and he is working and responsible of linking water and management with question and innovation and infrastructure. The Encher Conversion Project is one of the most ambitious water infrastructure transformations worldwide, and Alexander will highlight how this large-scale infrastructure project has created long-term benefits for regional development and urban planning, and what lessons can be drawn for sustainable transformation in other regions. Alexander, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, good morning, everybody, and buenos dias. First of all, I'm sorry for the very German names that we have. I see they're very hard to pronounce. Sorry for that. My name is Alexander Knickmeyer. Yes, I'm head of corporate strategy and public affairs at Emscher Genossenschaft Lippe-Verband, and I'm very pleased to give you within today's webinar an introduction to the Emscher conversion and its added values for our region. But first, to give you an overview, because everybody maybe knows where Madrid is, but maybe you don't know where the beautiful city of Essen is. There you see the map. And you can see, of course, Europe, then North Rhine-Westphalia in the west of Germany, and then our operational areas where we are active as waterboards. These are the catchment areas of Emscher, shown below in blue. I would like to show it, yes, over there. And the Lippe shown in green further here in the north. Here you can see this again in more detail. As mentioned, in the north is the Lippe and in the south the Emscher with its small tributaries, which together mark our catchment area. The catchment area covers about 4,000 square kilometers, and we provide water management services for around 3.6 million inhabitants. Oh, sorry. The Emscher River is a very special river here in Germany because it's closely linked to the industrial history of our region. As you may know, the Ruhr area has been strongly shaped by coal and steel. And to illustrate this, I have included on the right a graph showing the enormous development since 1850 in our region. Parallel to the increase in coal production in the region, the population also grew sharply, shown here on the logarithmic scale. Within only 50 to, let's say, 60 years, the population multiplied about 20 to 25 times, with the effects for the region, as you may imagine previously. The Emscher still had enough space in the region to overflow during heavy rainfalls, for example, and to spread out. But as human settlements and industries moved closer and closer to its banks, neighborhoods were flooded for longer periods of time. And as a result, typical infectious and epidemic diseases occurred very frequently, not just occasionally. At times, 20 to 25% of the workforce suffered from infectious diseases such as malaria or typhus, and therefore were not available for work in the coal mines, for example, or in the steel factories. And so by order of the Prussian parliament at the end of the 19th century, the Emscher Genossenschaft was founded to end this situation with the mission to dike the Emscher and to transform it into a canal through which wastewater could flow and to direct it above ground quickly as possible, or as quickly as possible, towards the river of Rhine. So here on the two photos, you can see that the construction of this new wastewater system led it well into the middle of the 20th century. On the left, you can see a photo of the 1950, and on the right, you can already see a color photograph here showing what this looked like in urban district in the 1990s. You must imagine the Emscher and its tributaries as open wastewater channels that flowed directly through residential neighborhoods. It was also very visible that the districts along the Emscher were the poorest and least attractive ones. You can almost see on the photo on the right that the neighborhood literally turned away from the rivers. Normally in urban planning, you see the opposite. People are drawn to the water and areas near rivers are considered attractive places to live. But here, the backyard of the houses faced the Emscher. You can imagine that when you open the window in the morning and you look onto an open wastewater channel, that it's not exactly the most pleasant way to live or to begin the morning. So the situation eventually became unbearable, and by the 1970s, and 1980s, people in the rural area were discussing how to deal with the industrial heritage on the region. And many industrial buildings were renovated, preserved, and reused, for example, for cultural purposes, in a region that wanted to move forward with this industrial heritage as part of structural change. And open wastewater during EMSHA is that ran through like a brown band through the region was no longer suitable or desirable. So something has to be done. And what can you do in theory to remove wastewater from a river again? First, you have to eliminate the old canal structure, tear out the concrete shells that formed this canal and build underground wastewater sewers parallel to the EMSHA and all its tributaries, which can then carry the wastewater. Only then you can remove the concrete shells above and feed clean water and rainwater back into the river. And what sounds small here on the slide was in reality one of the largest infrastructure projects in Germany, with a budget of 5.5 billion euros. In total, over 400 kilometers of sewers were built, more than 300 kilometers of river were restored to a natural state. 4 new large wastewater treatment plants had to be built, and a whole series of pumping stations constructed or modernized. Here I have brought you an overview of the EMSHA system with its new water management structures. Along the thick blue line in the middle, the main course of the EMSHA, new sewers were built, but also along all its tributaries. We built 4 new treatment plants. We had to construct 3 large pumping stations in Gelsenkirchen, Bottrop, and in Oberhausen. And to give you a very fast impression of this treatment plants, here you can see this, and also the large pumping stations we had to build. These are structures that go 40 meters deep into the ground and have a diameter of 40 meters also. And to my knowledge, they are among the largest wastewater pumping stations in Europe, just to give you an idea of the dimensions. And well, as I just mentioned, in the region that after the end of the coal and steel has to set out to deal differently with its industrial heritage, to preserve it on the one hand, but also to create new qualities for the region, the EMSHA serves as a connection or connecting blue thread through which one can trace the story of the region themselves, from a coal and steel region through the IBA EMSHA Park, a comprehensive program for structural transformation, and up to the EMSHA conversion itself. And we are therefore in the middle of an ongoing transformation project in which the region continues to reinvent itself. And quite practically, the EMSHA conversion is linked to a whole range of positive added values, which I want to give you a very brief example. First of all, on the field of ecology, of course, in the restored zones of the EMSHA, we were able to count more than 1,000 new species within a very short time. Insects, snails, and various fish species, including some endangered ones. Even some well-known species, such as the beaver, have returned to the EMSHA. In the field of economics, studies have shown that investment in blue and green infrastructure also pay off economically. With an invest of 5.5 billion euros, we generated a strong economic effects, even in times of economic crisis in the 2010th years. We are able to demonstrate that an economic impact of 13.2 billion euros resulting from contracts and subsequent incomes effect have been generated, and we estimate that around 45,000 jobs were created or maintained during the project. In urban development, as you have seen in the photos, there are also an impressive transformation along the Emscher. Initial calculations already show increases in property values and rent levels. Overall, the municipalities in our catchment areas are now face the challenge of using the impulse of a restored Emscher for their own neighborhood development. We support our member municipalities with our expertise to unlock these added values. In the field of health, added values can also be observed. We have launched our own educational programs, and beyond that, it's clear that with the restored Emscher, new spaces and pathways have emerged where movement and encounters can take place. And from this perspective, the Emscher conversion can also be understood as a large public health project.
2 minutes, Alexander.
2 minutes, okay. The last 2 slides. I'm hurrying up. In addition, we regularly offer educational programs along our rivers. We are improving access to water so that, for example, school classes can conduct biology lessons there. We also accompany the regional transformation with art and culture projects. Several art festivals have already been held along the Emscher with we ourselves organize and curate. And we also maintain a collection of artwork that continues to grow. Moreover, the restored Emscher has a significant increase in tourism. Areas that people once avoided have become popular recreational destinations, and among the Emscher we maintain almost 300 kilometers of cycling paths and accompanied by four larger farmsteads, former farms that have been renovated and offering rest areas, gastronomy, and even accommodation. And public participation was very important to us through the conversion. So we organized numerous community projects along the Emscher and continue to do so. So last slide. You can imagine that such a comprehensive and complex and diverse project that the Emscher conversion can only be described briefly in 10 minutes available to me. So if you want to, I can provide you some links on YouTube with speeches, with podcasts and longer videos of the Emscher conversion. And of course, if you want to visit us, feel free to contact me, to write me an email, and let's see what we can do. However, the Emscher conversion illustrates that the transformation of our region from a gray industrialized landscape with open wastewater channels to a blue and green region with improved quality of life and many new opportunities for its citizens. And in this sense, the Emscher conversion is a remarkable example of how water management, regional planning, and urban development, when through from the perspective of water, can create unique impulses for the development of an entire region. So thank you for your attention. I look forward to your questions and to the discussion in the third part of our webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander, for so excellent case study project, and really is one of the most important projects around Europe. Now, last but not least, case study came from Italy, from Turin. We have the speaker, Andrea Cassi. Andrea is an architect who graduated from the Polytechnic University of Turin with a thesis of the role of digital technologies in contemporary cities developed at the MIT Sensible City Lab. He worked and presented in leading cultural institutions as the Venice Architecture Biennale, Triennale de Milano, and he's founder and director of AEX, a design research workshop exploring the intersection between art, landscape, and technology, and he's partner and project manager at Carlo Ratti Associati. Well, Andrea, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Andres, and good morning, everybody. And I'm really happy to be here. So, as you said, my name is Andrea Cassi. I'm one of the partners at CRA, Carlo Ratti Associati. And as you may know, our office is trying with his work, starting from Carlo Ratti research at MIT Sensible City Lab, to blend design, architecture, and technology to rethink in a certain way urban environment. And today I'm presenting you a project that we are actually developing, is under construction, and is here in Torino, where I'm talking from. And it has been done, well, we are doing it with the Torino municipality. And in a certain way, I think is showing how central could be the river for the city identity, for Torino identity. So I think there's a link with the project that you showed before that were really, really interesting. And the centrality, I guess you can see my screen. Yeah, so the centrality of a natural element in the city, it is even more actual nowadays, we think, facing the climate crisis. And this is one of the topics that Carlo Ratti is investigating in the current Venice Biennale, dedicated on how architecture could help in answering the climate change. Well, the numbers you're seeing on the screen are referred to the impact of cities in this regard. So as you may know, the 2%, approximately the 2% of Earth surface is occupied by cities. 55% of the world population is living nowadays in urban environments. And cities are responsible of approximately 75% of energy consumption and 80% of CO2 production. So you really see how big is the impact of the cities in our environment. And what is interesting to me in this regard is that this is forcing us in a certain way to think about the natural element in the city as part of its infrastructure. And it is directly impacting on the livability of urban space. And this is the case of this project, the project you see on the screen, that is not related to the river, is not related to what we're talking about today, but I think is interesting as a case study as well. It's called the Green View Index Project, in which the Sensible City Lab researchers are studying how the amount of trees is impacting the quality of urban space in different cities in relation to the population density. Well, this is important because when you are considering the natural element as part of the city infrastructure, well, then you really start to work with to create exchanges and positive impact for the city and its citizens. And this is what we're trying to do here in the office. The project you see on the screen, it's a proposal we did some time ago together with Transolar and other engineers, a big team, for the city of Helsinki. The idea was really simple, so to create an energy storage using a floating hot water basin, so to store energy, the energy produced by renewable sources. But beyond the energy aspect and the technical aspect that is interesting as well, what is more interesting, I think, is that with this kind of intervention, you can really define also new urban spaces, putting together natural and artificial. In this case, we were able to create a new typology of urban space using the heat that we were storing in the basin. And this is, in a certain way, is a bit what is happening when cities are considering their natural features as part of their identity. Think about Paris. This is a picture of the riverbank in Paris, with the conversion to pedestrian use of all the riverbank. This is a simple act that is really changing the city, is really changing the urban environment. So starting from that, we began with the Torino municipality to imagine how the Po, Torino's river, could become a living infrastructure, both ecological and social. This is a picture of a part of Torino River. Well, talking about urban shape, the Po River for Torino, it is a sort of link with the natural surrounding. Here you can see on the upper part of the image the hills towards east. And as you may know, the Po is navigable only in a certain section. And the whole project starts with the municipality idea to reopen the navigation, a big part of it. Almost all the stretch crossing the city, so almost all the part of the portion you see on the screen. So to have 2 electrical boats providing public transportation service. Of course, the Po is not barycentric to the city, so you cannot really use for public transportations to solve other issues, but still you can connect the southeast part with the northeast part. So to do that, we propose 3 simple interventions. 3 different typologies of interventions, so to allow the new navigation system. So the first one is the creation of the so-called river center, a sort of public meeting point on the river using one of the beautiful historical structure on the riverbank in the city center. Basically, in one of the original group of arcades, here you see some picture and some drawing, the municipality will host an information spot, so to talk about the river, hosting event and small cafeteria, open to public. And as the river flows are frequent, this of course is also impacting the way we are designing space, the way which we are designing our architecture. Well, we designed a kinetic architecture made by platform able to adapt to the water level. So again, when the float is entering the arcade, all the platform they are raising, they're going up. So again, this is an idea of the architecture that is defining a dialogue with the natural element, also in a pragmatic way, in a practical way. The second intervention is really important because it's about the river landings. So we together with the municipality of Torino, we redesigned the historical landing with the idea of having a sort of public meeting spot, so transforming the old landings in sort of open squares towards the river. And so the idea is to use something that is really technical as the landing. So again, to redefine the urban space, so to create meeting points. We also work with landscape designers, land from Milano, so to redesign all the riverbanks nearby the landings. And the third one, of course, is a really technical one, that is the harbor basin. A new basin able to host the boats during the floods, because this was one of the problems of Torino with the previous project. They had problem with the boat because they didn't have a basin, so to store them during the flood. And this is a simple infrastructure, a technical one, in which we redesign all the landscape, so to really embed in the existing riverbank, in the existing landscape, in the natural ecosystem, the new infrastructure. Well, ultimately, this project is not just about building something on the river, but it's really about changing how we relate to our rivers in a certain way, trying to really to connect transportation, ecology, and culture. So thank you very much.
Thank you for this explanation. Andrea is so clear about these new ideas in the natural-based solutions and rivers. Thank you very much. And now we move to the next discussion, is the discussion with the 4 case studies that we have. I invite to Marta from Manzanares River, or Raquel for this discussion with the other 3 case studies. We have some questions or key questions, I would like to say that, about rivers, restoration, and natural-based solution. The first one is about natural-based solutions, restoration, rivers, and climate change. I open the discussion about your feeling about how the climate change impact of the restoration rivers and how we must take action for the climate change. For example, I'm thinking in the European Mediterranean countries, in the cutoff law. In Spanish, say DANA. DANA cutoff law. Floods is a problem in many countries. What is your opinion, your experience about your project, the relationship between climate change, restoring urban areas, and water? No, please.
Yeah. Well, my opinion is that we have to change our point of view, because the rain is changing. Now it's more torrential, and so we have to design with another variables, with another numbers, because it's not the design rain we had before. And so we have to be prepared, and I think nature-based solutions are better because they are greener and more sustainable. And it's the same we can build with the solutions we had before, or with the nature-based solutions, and they will work the same. So if we can choose, it's better to make the cities more permeable, to look for shadow or freshness with trees. That's not about the DANA. It's about the hotter summers we have in Madrid, for example. And then we will make the places more attractive also. Not only we are looking for solutions to fight against the climate change, it also will be good for making places more attractive, I think.
Thank you, Marta. Laura and Antonio, your experience about that?
Okay. About the climate change and the way that we must look to the rivers. In our intervention, we always think that the river needs space, and we occupy the space of the river, so we must do with respect. So we try to maintain all the time the space that river have now, and it's the reason why we are so concerned about agriculture and urban forests, because there are spaces that the river can use when it's too much water, when we have flows. And we don't have time, of course, to explain everything, but we are demolish a lot of constructions along the river and the walls, and is one of the important elements for give space to the river, for the flows, and also for environmental education, for people understand that it's impossible to construct near the river. It's one way to say that's enough. We don't construct more along the river because the river needs permeability space. So in our interventions, I think it is the most important is we need space for the river. The most part of the municipalities are buying the soils. It's private areas, and the municipalities are buying part of the area we show in the master plan, and the reason is to have the capacity to decide what can do or not can do in these areas, and to maintain the public assess and maintains the capacity to don't impermeabilize the soil.
Thank you. Alexander, your vision, your opinion, your experience?
I think the water sector is one of the first sectors that feels or has to deal with the results of climate change. And I think what we need, especially with rivers with rivers in urban areas, is that we need a new way of urban planning. Water has a key role in this aspect, and the water sector has to move. Yeah, it's water management is not only about managing a river, but it starts in the city centers, and it starts in the way we plan our public spaces. It starts in the way we plan our streets. And what I think is, and this is very, very interesting, or very it's a very good situation, a very nice situation, is that we have the possibility with these new topics to improve life quality, to improve the quality of our cities, and to improve the resilience of the river systems we managed. And I think what we now have to do is, as water people, let's say, is to start to go into these topics, and to raise the hand and say that water plays a very important role, and we have to be there. We have to sit on the tables when urban planners are starting with planning new areas, new streets, new places.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Alexander. Please, Andrea, your vision about climate change, natural solution, restoration, river.
I think it's a really interesting topic, and I really like what Marta said about the idea of changing point of view. The fact that in a certain way the climate change is helping us to change our point of view, and I think this is the key point. It is also linked to what Alexander was saying about urban livability and quality of space. No, in a certain way, the master planners of the past century, they were not really thinking about how to integrate the natural aspect, the natural element inside the city. Maybe it was a result. Imagine, I don't know, the big park. No, it's okay. Then are becoming a result of the master planning, or a leftover sometimes. But now is really different. Now we really need to consider the natural element as part of the whole city infrastructure. And I think this is the point of view that is really changing. And then, of course, when you're putting in place technical solution, okay, the technical solution are not enough, because they need to talk with social needs and quality of space. So this is probably going to help in build more open and accessible cities for everybody.
Okay, thank you. That your answer has relationship with the second question that I would like to put on the table, is that when we are talking about natural solution, I said that we are talking about natural and modified ecosystems. The modified ecosystem is cities, and we have infrastructure, urban areas that around the city, inside the city, no? So how is possible to speak with the spatial planners, with the architects, with the politician, and to think about this new restoration, no? To include the nature, the environment inside the cities, no? What are the challenge that do you think that is necessary to think about this restoration, and to speak with the planners, with the politicians, with the society, no? Raquel, Marta?
Okay, I think the problem is that the exciting infrastructures that have to be demolished, and so you need to make the people aware of the need of doing that, and that's not easy sometimes. And that's the principal challenge for me, that we have to make conscious or aware of that need. That's all.
Okay. Yes. Well, for example, the case study from Alexander, no, you explain an area, an industrial area, no, that is you need to speak with different planners, politicians about the vision, no, of the Echan River, no. What were your experience, Alexander?
I think when we are talking, for example, with people from our countries that are not are trying to build the water infrastructure up, that are not that far in this topic, they always ask us or say to us that it's not a technical problem; it's a problem about governance. They ask us about what are your political structures in our region? How was it possible to mobilize more than 5 billion euros from the region itself? And I think the key is that the water sector that we change the governance structure so that the water management or the water players, let's say, have a vote in urban planning and in regional planning. And I think it's a political thing. It's something that we have to fight for in a political way, so that we get new roles in urban planning, and that, for example, when urban planning is made in our region, that we can raise our hand and say, no, this is, for example, a piece of soil near the Amscher. That is something that we need for the river. We are in a position that we possess a very great portfolio of what's the word? Soil, where you can build something on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That
Yes.
we possess them, and in this situation, we can do something with this ground, that we have. That's a very good situation. But I think very let's say hard governance structures and very strong political structures and processes are needed, that we can change this the way we do urban planning. It's not about let's make a workshop and let's sit on the table and blah blah blah. It's about power. It's about how to move the water topic on to put it on a higher rank in urban planning.
Okay, thank you. Laura or Antonio, your experience about that?
Okay, our experience, it's very different in different parts of our country. If we are in interior areas where are not so much pressure in urban areas, it's more easy to find a way to keep space for the river, but perhaps don't have so much money to implement.
Yeah.
To implement the solutions. And when we are working in the metropolitan areas, there are a different kind of perception, because when we have floods, it's terrific for people and for all the risks we have, and the politicians and the planners have a big sensibility for this. But at the same time, as you know, in all the big cities in Europe, there are a big pressure to build, and there are enough houses for people who are living in the cities. and we have the problem of immigration and so on. So there are a big pressure, and it's difficult in the working in the planners in what is absolutely necessary for this environmental crisis and climate crisis and the pressure of the market for the construction. So we need to find the annex pressure. And I think the public pressure, it's very important. It's one of the reasons why it's necessary to work with the planners and with the schools and the citizens about the environmental necessity to have different politics for the environmental. So it's necessary to have two kind of pressures to find something we can work in the reality of the day.
Thank you. Andrea, any points?
No, yeah. Look, I think there are a lot of challenges linked to the relationship in between the ecological restoration and the existing urban infrastructure, of course. But again, it's a matter of changing point of view. I think, imagine, and I think it could be also a great opportunity, especially for European cities, because European cities, because of the scale of the cities and the relationship with the landscape, they have a kind of unique relationship with nature and landscape in a certain way. You can see in the research, I show you the one about the green index factor. Now you can really study deeply how the whole structure of the city is interacting with with nature, and that's for me is really interesting. And sometimes it's true, all the things that all my colleagues they just said are true. The relationship with the power, with politics, of course, is really important. But sometimes also small interventions they can help. Imagine it's not as small. Okay, of course you can do something important, big as the Helsinki project I show you, but you can also do something simpler as the Paris one, for example. You just close the riverbanks, and the city, of course, has a strong impact on the mobility and so on. But the city is starting to rework, live closer to the river, for example, in this specific case. So sometimes these difficult challenges are passing from small steps, and I think this is one way.
Yes. Turi, please.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Thank you so much, everyone. I just wanted to make sure that we get one question in from the listeners as well. And I also just wanted to make sure that we thank Marta, because I know that she has to leave us early today. So Marta, thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure. And
Thank
I
you.
don't know if you would just like to say anything, because I know you have to leave in 1 minute.
Yes, no, thank you for inviting me to this webinar. It has been very, very interesting for me also. And well,
Thank you so much. Well, wonderful. We have one question from the public that could be interesting. Thank you, Marta. Bye.
Bye.
That could have relevance for your project. Of course, it could also not have relevance, but in any case, we will ask it, and then if there is any incorporation of this type, please, it would be really interesting to know. So we have been asked whether these nature-based solution interventions have included ecological surveys. And this person is interested in knowing the perspective you have on birds and arthropods, such as ticks and mosquitoes, for instance, and considering invasive species as well, like mosquitoes that incorporate Lyme disease, for instance, as an example.
Alexander.
Yeah, that's a very, very important question when you restore a river system. What I can say now very shortly is that we have our own data. We have a department that collects data on the ecological quality and the restoration of the Emscher, the Lippe also, but especially on the Emscher. But we also work together with NGOs and in citizen science project, for example, where people come together and for example, count species on a space, let's say on a part of our river system, and in one day, for example, one Saturday, Sunday, and they come together collecting or counting species, and we are making our we calculate what this data means for the whole river system. But the special, the problem with species that are not, that came, for example, from the Rhine, enters the new river, is a problem that we are monitoring and we have to deal with.
Thank you. Raquel?
Thank you very much for the interesting question from the public. I would like to underline that Madrid City Council has a program of monitoring and evaluation, and every month we collect the insects in the part of in the area of the project with the collaboration of the center, as I explained before, that works for the central administration. So we are doing this effort additionally to the controls that we do by our own in the Madrid City Council, because we consider it's important for neighbors to have these figures. They are conscious about mosquitoes and not only for the environment, but also for their health, because not only mosquitoes, but other kind of insects. And for us, is very important, and is included in the monitoring and evaluation program.
Thank you. Laura, please.
Yeah, in the case of the Lesser River, we with the association of the municipality association of the Lesser River, there are investigators constantly on the ground collecting samples of the water samples, the biodiversity. There's also been programs to eradicate some invasive species. Recently there was also installed LoRa sensors to study the quality of the water every 500 meters, so we can spot where there are sources of pollution. There's also a lot of biodiversity studies. There's also interventions with people. They have a fun thing that they do, a bio blitz. With the people of the municipalities in different areas of the river, where the people can search and try to identify some species of like insects or vertebrates and some plants. There's also this connection between the science and the people, so the people feel involved, and so the people want also to maintain the river and help it to stop being so polluted in a way.
Okay, thank you very much for your speech, for your ideas, for your participation. And now Fundación Conama has the floor. Please, Fundación.
Thank you so much, Andres, and thank you so much for chairing this part of the webinar. Really excellent and so interesting to hear you all. Our esteemed colleague Raquel will give a short closure to this webinar, and thank you again so much, and for your punctuality as well. It has worked out so well. So thank you, and Raquel, Over to you.
Thank you very much. To conclude this interesting webinar, I would like to express on behalf of Madrid City Council our sincere appreciation to all speakers, organizers, and of course to the participants who have made this event a truly valuable exchange of knowledge and experience. The restoration projects of river ecosystems have a great multifunctional value added for the environment, but also for citizens, improving their quality of life and contributing to the identity of our territories. The inspiring projects shared today, which have been developed in Portugal, Germany, Italy, Finland, and Spain, demonstrate how blue and green infrastructure can transform the places we live into healthier, more resilient, and connected spaces. Thank you very much for your attention.